All right, good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock. Actually, I'm a minute behind. It's 7:01. Should be noted that Shannon is not here tonight. Dan Karras, our Assistant City Manager, will be acting City Manager. So with that, Deb, would you please do roll call?
Counselor Williams. Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Here.
Counselor Parrish.
Here.
Counselor Quigley.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Present.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask for everybody to stand for a moment of silence to collect their thoughts, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have an agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Great. With that, I need a motion.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a first, a second. Any questions or concerns? All right.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Counselor Parrish.
Yes.
Counselor Quigley. And Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much. David, you have perfect timing. The first item on the list is a proclamation proclaiming Thursday, June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth Day in the city of Fruita. Amy, would you please read our proclamation?
Absolutely. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word of the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19th, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolition of slavery and the emancipation of African American slaves in the United States and continues to grow within communities throughout the country, including Mesa County. And whereas there are organizations in the Grand Valley, such as Black Citizens and Friends, promoting and cultivating knowledge and appreciation of African American history and culture, while encouraging equity and respect for all people and cultures. And whereas the city of Fruita is an inclusive community that encourages a diversity of cultural opportunities. And whereas Black Citizens and Friends is hosting a Juneteenth celebration on Saturday, June 14th, 2025 at Lincoln Park from 2 to 5 p.m. Therefore, we, the Fruita City Council, declare Thursday, June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth Day in the city of Fruita, Colorado, acknowledging its significance and encouraging our community to join in this celebration of African American history.
Thank you very much. And with us, we have Mr. David Combs with Black Citizens and Friends to accept this proclamation and say a few words, if you would. Oh, man, not again.
Gotta hold your breath. Nice.
Everybody move. First, I want to thank you, Mayor and Honorable Council people, for recognizing this day. A lot of people believe that you have to have monuments to celebrate. And if you think about it, a lot of people don't understand that this is considered Black Americans' Freedom Day or our 4th of July. And when you think about 4th of July, if you look around, you'll see that there aren't many monuments per se that are dedicated or that honor the 4th of July. We all honor the 4th of July in our own way. And Juneteenth is what we Black Americans consider our 4th of July, as I indicated. And we ourselves, we have our own traditions. The 4th of July, you have parades, you have barbecues, you have fireworks. Our Freedom Day, our Juneteenth Day, we do the same thing, and we have some of the same things. We have picnics. We have traditions like spirituals. We also have reenactments. Basically, what happened was this. On June 19th, 1865, in Galveston, those slaves were made aware that they were free. And it was, as your proclamation indicates, it was almost 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. The challenge was this. It was a document that was posted. And at the time, slaves, it was illegal for a slave to learn how to read. So think about it. Your freedom is posted. However, you don't have the ability to understand what that posting means. So word just spread. And those are some of the reenactments that we do. I talked about monuments and the lack of such for the 4th of July, the lack of such for Juneteenth. I saw a really quick blurb today where the Secretary of Defense was going through and looking at names on naval ships and thinking about changing them. One of them was Harriet Tubman. And I kind of thought, well, you know, that's okay because many people aren't going to see a ship and think about Harriet Tubman. They're going to think about an individual that freed almost 300 slaves over her time. She was also, the challenge is she was also a spy and a general in the Army. And so for this change, it's somewhat confusing. However, with that being said, what we've done is this. We've been celebrating Juneteenth here since the year 2019. It became a federal holiday in 2020, and we're now entering this is going on our 5th year. We will have the Honorable Mayor read part of our proclamation. We'll have food trucks. We'll have double Dutch. Anybody jump rope here?
Not well.
Good. We're going to have you. And we also honor, we have a couple of honors that we do. We have the Josephine Dickey District 51 Teacher of the Year. We have the Diversity Business of the Year 2 years ago. Lithic Bookstore, Danny won it. And we also have the CMU Employee of the Year. And we shy away from professors because sometimes it's that individual that isn't in front of these students that's bringing that diversity to them. And what we want to do is recognize individuals that typically don't stand in front of the students. Again, I want to thank you for this recognition. Our committee thanks you. Our community thanks you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You gotta come up.
You know the drill.
Your front seat. Thank you. Thank you all again. All right, we have a presentation tonight from the Fruita Area Chamber of Commerce about an annual membership survey. And Kayla Bowers, the Executive Director, you're up.
Touch this and make sure. Hey, good evening. Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Kayla Bowers. My title is now the President and CEO at the Fruita Area Chamber of Commerce. As part of our MOU agreement, we will be presenting to City Council on a biannual basis, just talking through some of what we're hearing in the business community and helping summarize some of the survey data and feedback that we've collected. I did send over this data summary to Shannon, so that way he has access to the full raw data that he can use as he likes. But I'm just here to provide a brief recap of first quarter and then also highlight some of our accomplishments over the last several months. So some of our major accomplishments in first quarter, we launched our first quarterly chamber compass. This is just to help members and community members understand what the chamber does and how to get involved and how to make the most of their membership. Second quarter Chamber Compass is actually happening tomorrow morning. Shameless plug. It's here in the City Council chambers, and we'll be focusing on our workforce initiatives. We'll also have a presentation from the Fruita Foundation, which helps fund student scholarships here in Fruita. And then we also have the Palisade Chamber of Commerce president and CEO coming to talk about our collaboration and our recent rural workforce initiative that we launched. We also had a successful move to the Fruita Farmers Market back to downtown Fruita. That was a huge accomplishment for first quarter for us. We had a lot of great feedback from businesses, and opening day is actually next Saturday, June 14th. We're going to have a record-setting number of vendors at the event for opening day. We're approaching 90, and we're maxed out at 96. So definitely going to be a big event here in downtown Fruita. We also transitioned our new membership invoicing to a more automated system. This strategic planning will really help us allocate our time and resources to what matters the most, which is helping support our businesses and not trying to track down invoicing and manual input and things like that. Our government affairs coordinator, Jace, and I also attended the Grand Junction Chamber legislative trip back in February, helping represent the Fruita voice at the state level. We also increased our advocacy efforts. All of the bills that we took positions on during the legislative session, which was about 70 different bills, we made sure to not only just send an email communications to our membership, but also posting that on social media so that our community can stay informed on what's going on, and then also sending a bill or a letter to every single bill sponsor on what the chamber's position is and why it's that position. Jace was able to attend the Grand Junction Chamber's legislative wrap-up, and Senator Rich actually notated that the letters we had sent out were really helpful for her, and she used that feedback multiple times on the floor. So it definitely made a good difference for business voice to be represented. And then we also launched the Downtown Fruita Business Committee, which has been really vital with our collaboration, not only between local businesses, but between the city and chamber as well. On average, we have about 15 to 20 businesses participating regularly, but our distribution list is over 50 member or downtown businesses that we send updates to regularly so they can stay up to date on events that are happening and what the committee's working on. And this was all made possible thanks to the continued partnership and collaboration between the chamber and the city of Fruita. So we really do appreciate that continued support and partnership. I just wanted to touch a little bit more on the Downtown Fruita Business Committee and the impact and vision that we have for it. So this committee is working to help bring more year-round commerce to our downtown businesses specifically. As the chamber liaison for the Fruita Tourism and Advisory Council, I report back every month on what we're hearing in the committee and what businesses are struggling with. And what we're trying to focus on right now is getting ahead of that slow season. It's really challenging for our retail and restaurant specifically during that slow time of year between December and March. And so we're talking through plans on micro events in the off season, or even potentially hosting monthly markets once the farmers market season ends, just to continue to encourage people to come into Fruita when tourists might not be coming into town anymore. We've had increased dialogue about downtown needs and challenges and creative opportunities. Some of the content that got brought up was the advertising and the need for more advertising to bring people to downtown. We talked a lot about the I-70 billboard and the silo banners that need updated, and it actually helped spark a really innovative solution that came from Family Health West after it was approached to potentially take back over that billboard to help promote businesses or whatever we want to do on the billboard as the city and the tourism board. But Family Health West had offered to allow businesses to promote themselves and encourage people to come visit them within their lobbies, whether it's a sign that they can scan a QR code and download a business directory listing, or they can also utilize their TV monitors that they have in all of their facilities. And then they also offered for us to help put together a newsletter insert that goes out to their staff monthly. So as one of the largest employers, if not the largest employer here in Fruita, I thought that was a really creative and innovative solution that came out of a kind of a difficult conversation with trying to address that I-70 billboard. So I met with them last week and we talked through kind of some campaign ideas that the chamber is going to help sponsor and lead by putting together a marketing campaign to work with Family Health West. So really excited about that. There's also strong enthusiasm from our Downtown Fruita Business Committee to help support downtown events like the Fruita Farmers Market, Fruita Fall Festival, Trick or Treat Street, and the downtown holiday lighting. Based on our survey feedback, businesses want to get involved. They want to volunteer. They're looking for more opportunities. And this really helps us partner them with local nonprofits like the Fruita Thrift Shop, who's in need of volunteers, or even encouraging them to join boards and commissions like the City of Fruita is continuously looking for. So this helps us match those businesses with some of their needs, like volunteering and getting more actively involved in the community. The committee is also working closely with city staff. In July, Ammon and Ciara are going to join us, and they'll be able to talk about the city's new hospitality program. So I'm really excited about that initiative, and I think it's going to be a great collaboration between the city and the local businesses. Matt with the city has also been actively participating in the Downtown Fruita Business Committee and helps keep us up to date on all of the upcoming events because there's a lot happening. So we met with Ciara recently and we're able to just go through a full list of everything that's happening so we can distribute that out to the businesses so they know what's coming up. And then for our business feedback, just some highlights on that survey. We do an annual membership survey, and we've really tried to fine tune what those questions are so that we can ask those same questions each year and compare how everything, what our results look like year over year. So this survey really showed a deep appreciation for community-focused events and advocacy, especially with locally led initiatives. So this same survey will always be conducted in first quarter, so I'm looking forward to continuing to update you on how it compares each year. But some of our top takeaways are related to our events and engagement. The Business After Hours, Fruita Farmers Market, and Fruita Fall Festival were ranked the top 3 most valuable and most attended events that our member businesses in Fruita go to. And this is similar to our past results. The Farmers Market and Fruita Fall Festival have always ranked in top 5 of the most valuable events that our member businesses are able to be part of as chamber members. They also value, as I mentioned, volunteer and committee opportunities. And so we're working closely with the Mesa County Library to help partner with them with volunteer opportunities. And as I mentioned, the Fruita Thrift Shop. Some of the challenges, as I mentioned, is just the off-season tourism piece. When that dies off, it's really hard for our businesses to stay afloat. They also talked about housing affordability for employees, overall cost increases, whether it's staffing or cost of goods. Rent came up a lot. Rent is really hard for local businesses right now, and triple net on top of rent has been really challenging for some of our smaller mom and pop shops. Workforce housing was mentioned, but most reported it as a known issue, but not a direct burden, although some employees do struggle to find affordable rentals here in Fruita. With childcare access, surveyed Fruita businesses largely reported that childcare is not currently a limiting factor, but they do emphasize that it may become a burden as their staff grows over time. And when we're looking at the Fruita business climate, we did a smaller cluster of surveys. It's a condensed business retention visit survey. So this is a survey that will continue to be ongoing throughout the year that we'll be able to share quarterly data with city staff, and then I'll report back to council on a biannual basis on what we hear. But as this first round of surveys, our industries represented were retail, hospitality, outdoor rec, and our nonprofit sector. For some of the business growth insights, about 60% of businesses reported that sales are up, showing that local spending is still relatively strong. For headcount, some reported that they've increased in staffing, while others have remained about the same, and only one of the surveyed businesses reported that their staffing was down. As far as confidence in the Mesa County economy, we had some mixed feedback. About 60% of surveyed businesses feel neutral about the current economy, 20% feel that the economy is up, and 20% feel that the economy is down. So it was a little mixed. As far as how it is to do business in Fruita, we also received some mixed feedback. About 40% were neutral, 20% say it's hard, and 20% say it's easy. And some of the notes for it being more difficult pulled is just some of the policies and regulations, local permits like oversaturated liquor licensing was mentioned. So those are just some of the notes that I wanted to point out for that. It does show that generally Fruita is business friendly, but there is growing caution among small business owners, especially regarding sustainability and cost pressures. As far as expansion and transition planning, several businesses are considering significant transitions like modernization, selling their business, expansion, or even change in ownership. I've had at least 3 member businesses who are based out of Grand Junction who have expressed interest in wanting to relocate their business or expand their business into Fruita, but space is a factor. A lot of them are looking to purchase an existing building, which is hard. Not many are wanting to lease right now. So there is interest. It's just a matter of finding the right space. So this shows both opportunity and vulnerability. While some businesses are investing in growth, others might be preparing for exit just due to that constraint on resources. As far as opportunities identified, e-bike sales and increased tourism demand, aligning products with community wants and seasonal demands, capitalizing on Fruita's outdoor and small town charm, and then just that continued community collaboration. Some challenges and threats, online competition. That's something we've heard a lot about, is that there's a lot of online competition out there. Some who I asked if they have an online store, typically most retail do have online stores, but they don't see a lot of sales through their online stores. So we're still digging into that a little bit deeper. Volunteer and staffing shortages came up, limited physical space, operational capacity, high saturation in some sectors, like I mentioned with liquor licenses, and tourism seasonality. For immediate business needs, affordable advertising, more foot traffic during non-peak seasons, time and staffing support, large, more adaptable spaces, and better customer visibility and access. As far as affordable advertising, the Chamber offers several low cost or free advertising options. Our e-newsletter inserts are typically no charge for nonprofits, and then it's $20 for a business to utilize that. And our e-newsletter sees an open rate of 49%. So people are opening it and seeing it. So we try to always encourage members to do that. We also have a marketing-focused chamber compass that we're hosting in fourth quarter so that businesses can understand what their options are, know some trusted resources, and how to stretch their marketing budget and make the most out of it. We're also going to be hosting social media workshops to help those businesses who are looking to modernize, understand what they should be doing on social media, how digital advertising works, and those types of things. We also recently hosted a workshop with a local marketing agency that talked about websites, how important it is, what to do, what not to do, and that was really valuable for the members that attended that. As far as the seasonal downtime goes, as I mentioned, the Chamber's looking and exploring off-season or micro events that we can work with the Downtown Fruita Business Committee on, just to help host something during the off-season. We also are working with other boards and committees to potentially continue having Fruita Fourth Fridays happen year-round. That's something that I've really been eager to push for, so that way it doesn't ever end, it's just continuous here in Fruita. For time and staffing support, as part of our rural workforce initiative that we co-launched with the Palisade Chamber, we've identified a need for a satellite office to happen here in Fruita for the Mesa County Workforce Center. I've had conversations with city staff as well as the Mesa County Workforce Center, and they're all very open to the idea. And that would just allow businesses here in Fruita to have more direct access here locally for all of the resources that the Workforce Center has, as well as job seekers to be able to come and talk to somebody so that way they can hopefully help find some employment here. For the larger, more adaptable spaces, we're looking at some innovative solutions to help some more of those retail-based businesses or artists to be hosted downtown in front of local businesses. As part of the Downtown Fruita Business Committee, we've talked about either hosting a business over on South Side in front of a downtown shop that might not be open on a farmer's market Saturday morning, or just bringing a local artist or a kid entrepreneur out in front of their business, so we can come up with some innovative ways to help still have something happening downtown, even though one of the downtown businesses might not be open on a weekend. For that better customer visibility and access, I know I-70 billboard has been a huge topic of discussion. We had over 30 businesses sign on to a letter of support for the Fruita Tourism Advisory Council asking to utilize billboard space to help promote Fruita more, so that way we can capture some of those I-70 visitors, which led to bigger conversations like our current wayfinding signs. Specifically, when you're coming from the Colorado National Monument towards downtown Fruita, there's actually no signage that tells you downtown Fruita is this way. There is one if you're coming from Wendy's, I guess facing McDonald's, there's a sign there. But if you're coming from the monument, you would never know that we have this charming little downtown. So that's something that we're working closely with city staff on and the Fruita Tourism Advisory Council to try to figure out how we can have some better wayfinding signs to make sure people are accessing both downtown Fruita and the south side. So just looking ahead, some of our priorities in alignment with the city goals, we want to continue to have a vibrant downtown, and small businesses need that consistent foot traffic, especially outside of the peak tourist season. And we need to prioritize getting ahead of that slow season now. And I know that's something we talk about on the Fruita Tourism Advisory Council a lot. And so it's definitely top of mind for the chamber. Our downtown business committee is well positioned to support the economic vitality through collaboration, marketing, events, and signage. But our next step is to engage the Highway 6 and 50 businesses as well as the South Side businesses. So that way we can make sure that we have a well-rounded support and we aren't just hyper-focusing on downtown. Downtown's been a priority because we have seen so many businesses close over the last several years. But now that we've started to bring that committee together, they're eager and excited to look at some cross-collaboration and promotion with other businesses as well. Many businesses are at a crossroad. They're investing in modernization or preparing for ownership changes, which makes support now more critical than ever. City-led efforts in beautification, wayfinding, parking, and hospitality education can help reinforce that business retention. Affordable, consistent marketing support is definitely a priority, whether that's billboards, tourism packets, digital maps is definitely a recurring need. The chamber is currently putting some final touches on a new Fruita map that I'm really excited about. We're partnering with Joel from Merge to Media and a local artist, Giselle Genova, to help design a caricature map of Fruita businesses. So several of our amazing businesses are going to have these cute little cartoon caricatures that we'll have on a map with a full business directory listing. And she's digitized it so that way it's really easy for us to swap out businesses if we need to, add, remove caricatures as we need to. So we're excited about that. And that was another great partnership with the Fruita Tourism Advisory Council as they helped support us with a small short run with their mini grant. And so with that, I will conclude my update. Again, I just want to thank city staff for your continued partnership. Thank you to city council. We really appreciate you all for the continued opportunity to serve our community.
Thank you for the update. We're not going to let you out of the hot seat yet. Before we let her go, any questions?
Thank you very much for coming out. It is very nice to hear you hear everything that you guys are doing. I think you are doing a lot of good work for us. It's very interesting to have Workforce Services have a satellite facility out here. Where's that going right now? Is that just in its infancy, or are we like split it with? I don't know if you could link or use the same room as the DMV. I don't know if they can share.
Right.
Because they're only here 2 days a week.
Right. Yep, that's definitely a good idea. When I had mentioned it to Shannon, I know there used to be a facility that I think the Department of Human Services used that was next to Family Health West Support Services building. So I know he was going to look into that, but we're open to ideas and suggestions. So I think that's a great idea as well.
Both managed by the county, so I don't know if there's a way to collaborate there.
Absolutely.
Limitations because of security reasons for different departments, but that is definitely a room that's only used twice a week, which is phenomenal to have DMV here. But having Workforce Services back here in the community would be awesome.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a fantastic update. Thank you so very much. It all sounds very positive, but then still things definitely to work towards and on. And sounds like you guys are definitely on top of it with collaboration and just also focusing on your own facility as well. Do businesses also talk about mid-July through mid-August as being slow season as well.
July, definitely. It's so hot. So I think a lot of the outdoor rec community isn't coming as much. So that's where we try to lean into more of the, the water activities. We've got the only cable wakeboarding park in Colorado, a lot of great river activities and things like that. So just trying to lean into that a little bit more and make sure that those types of industries have the marketing materials to make sure people know what to do afterwards.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Couple questions. So last year we did James one concert in the winter. I think this year we've got budgeted for two. Is that correct? Or
We did too.
just,
We did the winter and then we did additional.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't we had the winter
Wait.
one and then we did one a little bit later, or we just talked about it?
We just did the one.
We've only done one so far.
We had talked about doing,
Yeah.
okay,
but we haven't.
Right.
all right. But I don't know if there's opportunities during the Isosaurus event. If there's opportunity to collaborate a little bit more on that. I do want to be careful, that maybe I just misunderstand, but what I'm hearing is there's this sense that the billboard is already a done deal with switching, and that has, I want to be clear, that hasn't come before council and none of that has been discussed. So I just don't want to get over our skis on this one.
Yes, no, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure that it was mentioned that while the council is still deciding the future of the billboard, we're working with Family Health West on some innovative solutions.
Also, you brought, I feel mean because I'm on the board, so, but like you brought up, like oversaturation of liquor licenses, some of what you heard. Can you provide, I mean, not at this, but can you provide us kind of all of that feedback? I'd love to hear
Absolutely.
what is kind of part of that and see what themes there are and see if there is an opportunity for us to adjust if we need to.
Is that something you already sent Shannon?
I just gave him the overall feedback, but we can definitely peel that back a little bit more. I do know that in conversations with even liquor stores in Grand Junction, once the regulations were passed to allow liquor to be sold in city market, that really hurt some of our local liquor stores. So I can definitely look at some more information to help you understand some of those oversaturated markets.
That'd be great. Thank you. And space and building space is
We know.
going to be a
Yes.
topic for a while. We're looking forward to seeing what comes back with the community survey, which should be what, a couple weeks now, and kind of see where that guides us as well. So
Yes, absolutely.
part of that conversation. But thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you.
Anything else before we let her bolt?
I'll just say I'm very much impressed with the activity of the chamber and not always seen such activity. And it's great to see that collaboration with the businesses and the city. I very much appreciate your report.
Yes, thank you so much. Great.
Kayla.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday to the mayor. Great. Thank you all.
Good night. All right, with that, we have no more we don't have any other proclamations or presentations. So we're going to head into public participation and our consent agenda. This portion of our meeting is set aside for the city council to listen to comments from the public about items not on tonight's agenda or items that appear on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those for which all conditions or requirements have already been met, and they are typically approved with a single motion without separate discussion. We welcome and value everybody's input to help maintain a welcoming, respectful, and productive environment. We ask that there be no clapping, cheering, booing, jeering, or sign holding. This helps ensure everyone, regardless of their viewpoint, feels comfortable sharing their thoughts. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and we ask that you begin by stating your full name and your address for the record. If you have materials you'd like to share with council or would like to put into public record, please hand them to our city clerk, Deb Woods, so that we can make sure that they're entered in public record and distributed appropriately. While council will not respond during this portion of the meeting, please know that we are listening and we appreciate you taking the time to participate in this important process. You think I could read that better considering I wrote it? With that, is there anybody that would like to come up and speak?
The
I,
house.
please. So once again, you have 3 minutes. Please state your full name and address.
Wilson. I resign at 1509 Baxter Street, Mac, Colorado. Last meeting, I came in and discussed about an intersection over by the middle school, how the school was pushing a bunch of traffic up into a little subdivision. Well, today I'm right here to talk about what happened to me while I was there. I had the police department called on me. They came down. They unlawfully trespassed me from the school. I got a grandson that goes to the school there. I had a concern about that intersection and what the school was doing to that subdivision. So from my recording up there and doing the constitutional protected activity, I do have a YouTube channel. I am one of those guys. I'm sorry, but we have to keep an eye on you. So in the process of all this, like I said, I had the Fruita Police Department trespass me from a public school without breaking the law. I broke no law there. They gave me a trespass for a disruption. Evidently, my filming there was a disruption. I'm pretty sure it's a constitutional protected activity. Can't be turned into a crime. So I want to bring to the attention of the police department on some stuff that I found and doing my own investigation. I got body cams. I got all their incident reports. I got officers lying on their incident reports. I got officers thinking they can just put on their body cams when they're approaching a suspect. I got their rules and policy on them body cams. It'll be turned on 911 calls. The whole thing is supposed to be videoed. I got an officer thinking he can just turn it on when he approaches me. I've watched him and videoed him talking to 2 people there at the school. His body cam should have been on at that point in time because I know they were talking about me. So I want to bring to the attention of the council, Sir Mayor, I got a lot of evidence in a corrupt police department here, lying on incident reports. I did a thing check on one of the officers on her disciplinary record, and it states that she had got a filed on there that she had lied on a incident report. Lieutenant Peck is also the IA here in Fruita. Everything I gave him was unfounded. Everything I got from any reports, they're unfounded. You can't have an IA and a lieutenant try to look back and say, oh, my police officers did wrong. It never works that way. Comes out unfounded. I got all my proof and my records here that I'd like to introduce to the council, the mayor, and I would like to also ask the mayor if I could have a meeting with him, your city manager, Shannon,
Your 3 minutes is up. If you could kindly wrap up.
and Lieutenant Peck. That's all I got to say today. I appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that something that you wanted to provide to city clerk? Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to come up? All right. You're the only one tonight. So thank you for participating. With that, I'm going to bring it back to council. We have the consent agenda before us. Anybody have any questions or comments on this? All right. Did anybody notice on the One Riverfront appointment? Okay, I may be totally nerding out on this. The one guy who did his PhD with Walt Whitman in democracy. It was very, yeah, I downloaded the paper. I've not had a chance to read it yet. So, all right. That,
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
first and a second, any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, Deb?
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley, Counselor Miller,
Yes.
and Counselor Williams. Motion passes 6-0.
Great, thank you. With that, I'd like to acknowledge John Rodwick for the Livability Commission, who is signed up for another 3 years to help serve the community. So thank you, John. Always appreciate people that are willing to step up and help. We have no public hearings this evening, and we don't have an administrative agenda. So with that, Dan,
Couple things. First off, Mike the Headless Chicken. Whoa. That was a lot of fun. A lot of people. Great music, great atmosphere. Great heckling from Councilmember Williams. But yeah, that what a great event. Like kudos to Mark and his team and everybody that participated in that. Just a couple things to mention. The 5K had almost or I guess almost over 500 runners, which is pretty
I
spectacular.
have to cut that off.
At 500, that's the cutoff, I believe, for the special events, right? Yeah. And so that was pretty popular, pretty cool to see. And it just seemed like every night, despite the heat, like is packed, and so it's a really fun event, obviously a big tribute to the 25th anniversary, but I think it's also just a testament to how fun the event is. The survey results at last meeting, Shannon mentioned that there was over 700 responses, but we will likely have a presentation on those findings on the first meeting in July or the third Tuesday in July, the 15th. We prime timed our new Civic Center hours on the day of the festival. And so I don't know if there's really much findings here as far as whether or not it was well received. But we have, for the 7:30 to 8:30, we haven't had anybody after 5. So or 7:30 to 5:30, we haven't had anybody after 5 yet. So hopefully that's something that's more utilized for people after work, but we'll find out. Gavin and I and Shannon will be presenting next meeting, kind of our findings from the fill material and then sort of next steps for the launch. And so I think we got some fun ideas that will hopefully bring some energy and excitement to that site, kind of within the theme of, obviously, it's tough business climate during the summer, and what would be better than sort of a world-class access to the river. So I think we have some ideas for some kind of pre-development events and how to responsibly fill the lagoons without that being too cumbersome financially. And I just think that there'll be some interesting dialogue. Be great to get some feedback from the council on that. And then the new website launches next week. I don't know if you want to show them the like a little sneak peek. It's not done yet, so we're not receiving feedback on it yet. But
Way to carve that out.
did you see that was pretty subtle right there, right?
Very subtle.
Oh.
Oh, yay. It's beautiful.
The photos will rotate.
Nice, yeah.
Yes. There's Janine's face.
Working on, but it'll be more focused on, yeah, like if you're, the way it should be, if you're a resident, how to easily find things instead of it being navigated through departments. You know where information department, so should be easier navigation as well.
Awesome.
And this is the ADA?
Yep.
And how many pages do you know? I mean, there's got to be like 1,000 pages.
Oh, man. Wow.
Mhm. So a couple of questions. Are the PDFs, will they be searchable on the website? Mhm. Right. That's
Yeah,
that's
that's
a heavy lift. That's great. And then a go live date, will all of it, or is this like will it phase in over a course of a month to get all 1,000 or so pages up to ADA compatibility? No website in the history of humankind has ever gone off 100% on data. So there will be glitches, that's to be expected, but that's a really heavy lift on the ADA side. So well done.
How far back do you have to keep records for minutes and all that kind of stuff? 7 years like the IRS?
Council minutes, actually,
Say that again?
minutes of all boards and commissions meetings of the city are permanent. The retention on them is permanent. So it just depends on the record on what the retention schedule is.
So does that mean, are we digitizing all prior stuff that was before internet and stuff like that then? Is that?
There's been talk about having an intern start on that. Do you know about that, Dan?
'Cause right now, we just have physical copies just in boxes, probably, just.
Well, they're in file cabinets.
I should be
but-
using the microphone, but yeah, we are. So that was one thing. Katie, she's now our executive assistant. When she was an intern, she did a lot of help with the accessibility side of things. And then we're also bringing on an intern. She actually starts next week, June 12th, too, and she'll be on with us for at least a couple of months. She's getting credit through CMU for the internship, but part of that is digitizing and working on ADA accessibility. So a lot of records, downstairs before we put stuff online. She'll be working on that as she has time to digitize. So, yep.
Great.
That's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right, with that, I will bring it back to council. Who would like to start?
I had historic preservation yesterday. We're planning some pretty cool things for Fall Festival. That's always like the big bang for that committee. And then also getting ready to launch finally the plaque program. So replacing the plaques on existing recognized buildings and then also adding them to some new ones, which will be exciting. So stay tuned on that. I think we're going to do 6 on the initial like rollout of those. And then as budget allows, we'll add more of that. Also working on digitizing the walking tour, kind of collaborating with the Parks and Rec and Arts and Culture Board, everybody to kind of get all of that together. So like with the sculpture program, there will be a QR code that you can scan that will help you go on the walking tour without the paper copy of the brochure. Hoping eventually to add like some oral history pieces to that, which I think would be so fun. Like you can listen to stories while you're standing in the space. So yeah, man, that group is just so much fun. But that I think is all. And I want to say I was very thankful for having last week off. It was really great to relax and enjoy time with my guys at JUCO. It was a great week. So thanks for letting us have that off.
Thank you.
Nothing exciting to report.
Have you had your initial board meetings yet or?
No.
Okay. No, you get a reprieve for a month.
Yeah.
Tourism Advisory Council met and had a presentation from the rodeo, talking about what they're doing and maybe expanding a little longer than they have in the past. And then we had a presentation from Colorado Tourism Office on Do Fruita Right. It's interesting. There's like 7 different things. The first is know before you go. keep it crusty,
Keep the crust. Yes, yes. Mhm.
air the trail, camp with care, trash the trash, take it slow, take it in, and right spot, right vibes. It's with everything that we're doing here with Barnhart, I think, and I'm really looking forward to that being added, as part of the Do Colorado Rights. It's a statewide, but I love the Keep It Crusty. It was a very,
And this is
worthwhile-
from the state?
Yes, this is from the state. Yes.
No, I'm just kind of surprised that's coming from the state with previous conversations.
Yeah, so the Colorado Tourism Office, like Counselor Parrish mentioned, they have the Do Colorado Right campaign where it's like leave no trace principles around that they're pushing out through their marketing channels. And then we worked with them through it's called the Destination Stewardship Partnership, where we got a consultant for up to 100 hours to work with us locally on what we've been seeing from visitors that we might need to work on pushing on what issues that we're seeing locally. And so they reached out to partners within the community, public land managers to get input on what they're seeing out on trails, what we're seeing here in town. So one of them, like right space, right vibe, I think is what it's called, is talking about parking in downtown Fruita, parking at trailheads. So kind of trying to make it more local, a local campaign that we can target to both visitors and residents on how to be more sustainable and when you're, traveling to Fruita. So yeah.
It's the initial sort of starting point of what do we do now with these? Where do the signs go? What kind of things do we then implement?
I think this is phenomenal because the meeting 2 years ago with they were just more towards Grand Junction and then letting it come out from there. So this is great
Awesome.
that they are taking,
Yeah. So
just look at us in Fruita.
Yeah, so they helped us with the campaign concept, and then they're helping us with a strategy for implementation of it. So working with, our partners and how we can kind of get it more into the community as well. And then also, another part of that consulting was, and we'll get that survey, it's in the community survey, but resident sentiment towards tourism and how what we need to do or how we can educate the community more on why tourism is important to the economy, or just kind of bridging that gap a little more if we need to based on the survey results. So, yeah.
Was Colorado Canyons Association part of that collaboration? Do you know? Like that, those exact things are what they teach to all third graders across the valley. They do a nature knowledge days out here in Fruita and McGinnis.
I think we had someone from, I'll have to check my list.
I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
This is all.
Yeah.
Sounds very familiar.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
In addition, they were appreciative to the city council of the additional funds for the special events, and the fact that they want to have more input into the budget process. So they're going to, in the June meeting, I think they're supposed to be talking more about where tourism and that perspective fits, and maybe perhaps trying to have more voice in the budget process as far as what's allotted to them from funds that they feel that they haven't fully been given.
Yeah. Well, good. All right, anything else, sir?
No, I think that's enough.
That's good. Thank you. Janine.
Yeah, I haven't attended any meetings since our last meeting, but I do have a couple of questions. Growing up in the valley, this was not Fruita specific when I was a child, but there was farm and ranch days in downtown Grand Junction, and like all the tractors were there and sheep and cattle and all of the things, and you could just walk around on Main Street and you can climb up into the tractor and get exposed to that. So now we do have that here in Fruita at the co-op. And I always mean to ask about it way before it actually happens. It has happened, it's passed this year, but I'm real curious about teaming up with co-op and considering bringing that downtown. So I don't know if you all are interested in pursuing that concept a little bit more, but we often talk about trying to be more friendly to our agricultural neighbors. And if we could incorporate that or be, even if I think it would be great to have it downtown, but if that seems out of the question, just be more collaborative in that, in whatever way. I think downtown would be beautiful, but
Who owns that? Does the co-op own that?
Co-op is who hosts that.
they host
But I
it.
don't know like who owns it in terms of coordinating it and
Yes,
like who, okay, so that's the.
they partner with FFA and like a couple other 4-H. Collaborate.
I can see how there's some great. Down there, I know, I watched that event. And that space they have,
Yeah.
like it's
It's
too big now. So it's like,
Right.
I think I agree with you. I think it'd be nice to see what could happen with it because it could be bigger and better.
Yeah.
If we collaborate with them and do something.
I loved it as a child. I cannot even tell you how much I loved it. And my kids who are adults, almost 25 and 20, like still like to go. So like this is a ongoing, like lasting tradition of,
Yeah, I mean-
yeah.
We maybe have staff look into.
Yeah, but I just, I want to kind of, I'm hearing like everybody.
Yeah, it just happened a month ago. So it'd
Okay.
be great to, we've got 11 months to.
All right, you got that?
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Great.
I don't want to take it away from them.
No, I don't need, but
But I
it's
think
like
from should we partner? Yes.
more exposure, more engagement, yeah, more love towards that community. And then do we have a date for the state of the city?
Video?
Yep, and that
Yeah,
whatever feeling.
we did the last scene on Monday. So we should have a video ready to go, not ready to go, I should say, like a first draft of it next week. And then from there, we'll push it out to the community. We were thinking of the past few years, we've done it at Rocky Mountain PBS and doing like a small event where people can come and see it for the first time. So we might do that again or try to switch it up a bit. I'm not sure yet. But yeah,
Too fast?
17th of June. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. What's on?
Chamber's hosting
Oh, yeah.
State of the.
Mm,
Oh,
Yep,
right,
state of
right,
the
right.
community.
yeah, I will
That would be
try to have it.
That'd be super cool.
That would be awesome if we could show it there.
It would be, because that means I have to talk less.
Yeah. But yes, I will try to have it. Yeah.
Let me know. It'd
Let's
be.
see.
Even if, what
Okay.
about even if you couldn't get it done, maybe a preview, but I would shoot for the full thing, but at least a teaser.
Yeah,
But shoot- yeah, but-
for sure.
That'd be great.
Cool. Good idea. Mhm.
Or at least a limited preview. Just want to do it at Rocky Mountain.
Cool. Okay, thanks. I just was curious because I knew we've had more of an event in the past, so I just was wondering if that was happening. And then passing out ice cream as city council, sorry, these are all for you. I know like July, we usually do it right before July 4th, but that concert when the Centennial Band is here is when we are all at CML.
Yes,
And then we won't be having one, I'm guessing, on the 3rd. And so are we doing it on the 10th?
yes, that is the plan.
Okay.
I don't know the schedule in front of me.
Yeah.
It's that for specific demographic.
Yeah.
I know.
So-
But sometimes
It-
we've had to push it off at somewhere else anyway.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
It's that if we don't do the centennial, I usually
can't, yeah.
try to do it on Frank's one, because it's the
Oh.
older.
Okay.
The 10th is the Lost Junction Band.
Yeah, I think that might not be the good one to do it. I'm not opposed to doing it that way, but I like when we do it with our senior community.
Yeah.
It seems like they kind of, so if we can't do the.
So-
When's Frank?
It's in August 7th.
That might be a little long.
Yeah. But we have Stray Grass the 17th on my birthday. That's a massive crowd though. Like we would need lots and lots of ice cream.
Has not been a problem in the past.
Lost Gym, pretty big too.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for
We were thinking,
put them on.
No,
And maybe we won't get
Yeah.
rained on.
no.
it's up to you guys, but we were thinking July 10th just because of, 3rd of July fireworks. And then, June 19th, that's a day off. But yeah, whatever you guys think.
If the 10th, for some reason, we have weather issues, then we could do the 17th, so.
Okay,
All right, so July 10th.
July 10th.
Awesome. Okay.
Mark your calendar.
Sorry, these were just all calendar in my mind, so. Yeah,
Putting it on the calendar.
yeah. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, Aaron.
Sorry, I'm adding ice cream. Parks and Rec Commission, they're looking forward to present to us in the coming months, and looking to update some bylaws. Just kind of going through that, stuff that we've done with other boards and commissions. As you guys know, we planted 30 trees the other day. We've only lost one. So I think we're very happy with that. We don't know how we lost the one, if it was chopped or eaten by a beaver. But beavers do come over from the Colorado and eat some of our trees. So they're talking about how we can protect the bigger trees that we want to get even bigger, because at some point, I guess, they're too big for the beavers. So they're looking at that and how they can effectively use funds or ask for funds to help continue to let these trees grow and get bigger. That's it.
I think you just challenged the beaver.
Right?
It's too big for the beaver. The beaver's like, oh, if you want to see.
Bet.
All right, James.
Come on, man. I'm gonna do some good stuff over no. I wanted to talk about CML because we had the CML guys here and it was great. Amanda was there for a little bit and it was me and the mayor, and I think it was that we were the ones, right? That was it, but it was good.
Sorry.
No, it was fine.
Apologize, we were well represented.
Yeah, and it was just interesting. I think that their updates were pretty cool to kind of hear, and we had some more kind of one-on-one with some of them that we don't normally get to. I enjoyed it.
It was things that we had talked about, which other communities, which we've tried to do, like down payment assistance.
Yeah, that was interesting.
There, Aspen, they have a property transfer fee, but that was before Tabor, so they got to keep that.
Mhm.
And then it was,
And Wood Springs they actually are pulling off the down payment assistance. So me and Matt, as soon as he said it, we're looking at each other like, where's he getting the money? So we pulled him aside. They passed the tax, and we're like, yeah, we are, yeah. But anyway, I thought it went really well, and Fruita was represented well.
Thank you for being there.
It was nice. I mean,
They're fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
Very, very fun.
yeah, it was really good. The new mayor, Aspen, sat with us, and we had,
and she's the re-elected new mayor.
yeah, elected new mayor, and then
Average home price in Aspen was 15.
dude, yeah, it was like
It was
15 million.
Average home price.
Crazy.
And then.
Lot rent in Aspen is $3,000 for a single wide trailer for lot rent.
See, we all have very similar problems. It was interesting to see kind of attitude and tactics used to try to solve them. There was some definite differences. One thing I thought was interesting, Glenwood talked about it, Aspen talked about it, but they're more fire prone. Was like Aspen, if there's a fire because of the 2-lane road, it's like they said 8 hours to evacuate.
Yeah. Another big thing that we need on our radar that just to be aware of, because we found out from Aspen that they will be doing a big renovation on the airport if the funding comes through. It was given and then the purse strings are being tightened again, but
They're actually
that
going to
happens
close
in
the
9
airport for
months.
9 months.
Oh, God.
9 months, we will be.
Extra traffic. Yeah.
And the reason that conversation came up is that she was sitting at her table and I had just went to the airport to pick up Chloe. And we were like, the airport's nuts. Like, it's the most people we've ever seen there. And they had just been closed for like
Yep.
2 weeks for a resurfacing. And someone had brought it up that Aspen had done it. So I took advantage of that opportunity to ask her, hey, what was going on? And then she said that, yes, if that funding comes, and it's been approved, but you know how everything right now with the new administration is a little tighter, but that money will eventually get there, and they're going to do 9 months. So we will, our airport's going to be crazy for a while. So we'll have to keep our eye on it.
One of the great things about that conference was that came up then the discussion because it didn't hit Grand Junction's radar either.
Mm.
During that conference, it was like, oh, Grand Junction was like, oh, yeah, we now also need to pay attention to
Yeah.
this. And then it came up with is that going to happen during the air show?
Gosh.
And then what would that chaos
No.
entail? So, I mean, I think that's some of the
There's
advantages.
definitely some stuff we want to keep our eye on that's going to be coming up. And then also, speaking of Grand Junction, they said that, that we're going to be adding a terminal by
Yep.
2030 and a new,
Finally.
so that's cool. There was rumor that Southwest, that was kind of the whisper, but I don't know if that was.
No, I think
Might have been joking around. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up because we hadn't talked about it. CMO was good.
Trader Joe's.
My biggest thing, I wanted to say thank you to everybody that worked at Mike. I wanted to talk about Mark's team. In all the years that I have ran the music for Mike, the Headless Chicken Festival, that was by far the most competent that crew has ever been. They were absolutely on top of it the whole weekend. And our town turned back into our town within hours. And I was absolutely blown away by how fast and efficient that crew was this year. And I didn't get any negative complaints from anyone whatsoever. But there's always somebody that's not happy. But I just thought Mike was ran really well this year, and it was nice to be a part of that. One weird thing, and I don't know if it was because there's food trucks here or what was going on, but I did notice it a few days prior to the festival too. Something is going on with the sewers. There's like odd smells are coming out of the sewers recently.
Out of the inlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Was it because we had a festival going, or it's
coincidental.
I've noticed it a little bit outside of it. So
You're not
okay.
you're not crazy.
Well, I am. It's not the only barometer, but on this.
But that,
that's not
It's a
overstep
tit
our
for
boundaries,
tat
Dan.
thing for the
It's not overstep boundaries.
But we're working to address that. I mean, sometimes what ends up happening is because those inlets for the storm drain, they have sumps in them, so they actually will hold water and then it will discharge. And part of the reason for that is to make sure that you don't overwhelm the downstream conditions. But a lot of places end up having to jet, just to make sure that that doesn't happen. It's kind of similar at scale. If like you have a P trap that's dry, you'll start to notice that smell. And so we're going to work on addressing that because it seems like it's the most noticeable at the northeast corner of Aspen and Peach. And then I want to say even on Mulberry too. Is that accurate? So those are the two that came to mind. If there's any other ones that you've noticed, we can certainly.
I'm happy that I'm not crazy, but I mean, it's nice to know that because I was like, wow, and those are two very prominent areas of downtown. So,
Yeah, but we'll work on that.
Stinky kid.
no, not at all. And then, so as I sat down today, I got this letter and I figured I'll just read it to everybody because they wrote it to us. It says, I'm writing on behalf of our residents' duck safety. He resides in the pond at the village at Country Creek. This duck is loved by all the people that live there. We would like consideration of a duck crossing sign to keep this duck safe. Pine Street is a very busy road day and night, and the duck likes to cross the road to see what he has on the other side of the road. He has no fear of cars and very small, and he's very hard to see. A couple ducks have met their demise on Pine Street, and it would be good to not have another one. And it's one of the citizens that lives on Periwinkle Lane. I'm not familiar with this duck, but I'm not opposed to putting a duck crossing. I think that would be kind of adorable, but I don't know if we want to have, if we could have somebody look at
Good,
that.
some good news. We
Okay,
got a sign.
right. Oh, we did, good.
Yeah, Public Works ordered it and they're
Nice.
installing it this week.
Okay, cool.
And it's,
Now,
Yeah.
after this, she said, I would really like to hear from you.
okay.
I don't have any information other than her address.
It was hard mailed?
Yeah, it was hard mail. There's no phone number or nothing.
Or email.
But I would absolutely be stoked to reach out to this lady and go, yes, we got you your duck thing, but if somebody from staff wants to do it, that'd be fine too. But I would love to make that phone call.
Yeah, maybe we can
Give you this.
connect afterwards and,
All right.
yeah.
Well, cool. Oh, I think it's great. Yeah, weekly update. That'd be great.
Anything
He's
else?
the best.
That's it for me.
Okay. Kudos to our municipal judge with the DOLA grant for $3,500 to help pay for public defenders,
Nice.
which will help for the next couple of years. So good job to that team for pulling that together. In an era of DOLA not necessarily having a whole lot of funds,
We want to talk about what he said a little bit.
I can
Yeah, go ahead.
it was great. With what James was just bringing up, DOLA their budgets are being slashed. They talk about the $1.2 billion deficit, which we had this year at the state level. A good chunk of that came out of the DOLA funds. He really did express that don't expect much. And the other unpleasant news he shared was DOLA, according to DOLA, next year's deficit, they're anticipating, what did he say, 3.2 or $3.4 billion at the state level.
Yeah.
So as we work through the budget system or budget process this year, that's just something to kind of keep in mind that money's going to be much, much tighter in the near future.
He's even saying monies that are already promised aren't even there.
Right. He said, do not spend any DOLA grants until the money is in the bank. And make sure you have backup funds in case they have to hold those funds. Yeah, he didn't say anything about clawbacks. But until you have money in the bank, it's not there.
Are we in a good position?
If we have the grant commitments, it means the money is available for disbursements, but in all of the contracts that we've seen, it has language in there to the mayor's point about do not spend any money before you receive the grant commitments for signature.
Thank you.
Are we at a point, and I'm assuming it's public because it came over email in terms of the EPA?
Yeah.
Right. Can I ask you to kind of talk about what's going on with the EPA and wastewater?
Are you speaking to the fine?
Yes.
So we did receive a letter from the EPA that suggests that we are in violation. I'm not 100% certain. Is Kimberly online right now?
If she's not, I can probably talk about it because I've been working with her on responding.
Okay,
That'd be great.
go for it.
So, city received a letter from the EPA suggesting that it was not in compliance on this kind of, and I'm not the technical person, so I can't really speak to that, but
What about biomass and
yeah,
transportation?
there's a specific like testing you need to do that you've got to send in results to the EPA or to CDPHE, and I guess it goes to the EPA. And so this notice of violation said that the city had waited too long between the time it took the samples and the time it was getting the results back, which then would invalidate the results because they have to be done within like 8 hours or something like that. And so sent a expedited settlement agreement for the city to agree to pay a $3,000 fine, basically kind of a guilty plea, say, yes, this happened, $3,000 fine, here's what we're going to do to fix it. So Kimberly and Tetra Tech, who's the engineer that works with Public Works at the wastewater treatment facility, Tetra Tech took a look and drafted a letter response back that actually that provision of the regulations has an either or situation. So you can either do this other thing, and again, this is, I wish I had better speak as to what it was, but you can either do that specific testing, or you can be providing information that you've heated stuff up to a certain temperature, um, and basically you're showing in either case that you're creating clean sludge. And so what the city had been doing was actually complying, trying to comply with both, and it really only needed to do one. So it's so then with the testing, there wasn't a lab available on the western slope. So these samples were having to be sent to a lab in Kansas, and thus there was, this longer lead time before the samples got to the lab. There's now a lab in Grand Junction that is doing this work. So the letter back to the EPA is saying, hey, can you put this settlement agreement response on hold for 90 days? Here's the information of what happened and what the city's been doing, and we actually are in compliance. And now we do have a lab that's close by. So first, we're asking if the EPA will just rescind the notice of violation and find that there is no violation, or at least rescind the fine. And then, we're going to continue to use the lab that's close by. So it's not anything that's like, oh my gosh, we're going to get shut down, or we're totally doing stuff wrong, or we're facing, some ginormous fine. But there's just a technicality there that needs to be explained and fixed.
The thing that I thought was odd about that was it was just like, here, pay this fine, and it was just the assumption of guilt. And I thought at first it was a phishing scam,
Yep.
just because the way it was worded, it was like, here, you're being sued by the EPA, pay us $3,000 and it will go away. Yeah,
It is not a phishing scam.
that I do realize, but that's what it kind of felt like.
Sure. It was very, just sort of like, here's the deal. And, Kimberly hadn't received, and the city hadn't received any prior notification of non-compliance. This was like the first and only communication. But in any event, that letter should go out tomorrow. A copy, Mayor, will go to you, and a copy is obviously going to be available at City Hall. So.
Thank you as always.
And Matt, who's the operator out there, he's the one signing the letter because he's the guy that understands all of these things. And that way, if the EPA wants to have a conversation about it, they've got his contact information, because he'll be able to have a informed conversation. Obviously, I can't.
A couple other quick things. I want to reiterate what James, you said about Mark. Just phenomenal during that. Even it was fun to watch him put on the headless chicken costume, although I don't know if we're supposed to make that knowledge public and who's in there. But it was great seeing him just as a big kid having fun out there. Shannon and I walked with some people this morning, Little Saltwash Trail. A section of that in terms of kind of looking at how it's been cleaned and debris left aside. It was a good walk, good conversation, and there will be some adjustments in terms of getting some of that stuff picked up, so that was good. And then I've had some conversations with Shannon about the conference room here, because there seems to be some confusion with the different organizations. I shouldn't say just that one and that one. Pointed in the right direction for a change.
There.
Thanks.
Good.
It was good.
But with both those conference rooms, those are owned by the city, and the usage of those rooms are granted by the city. So nobody has exclusive rights. Rotary doesn't have exclusive rights to that room. F-Works does not have exclusive rights to that room. So it is who the city has rights to those, and who the city deems have rights to use those rooms. So there's just been a swirl of conversation about both of those rooms, and we kind of looked at those agreements. I say we, Shannon looked at those agreements moving forward, or in terms of what's actually in writing. That's all I have. So with that, we've included council reports and action items. Next up is executive session. But quick question before we go into that, do we want to buy a break? Are we good to?
Yeah, why they set it up, yeah.
Okay. So we will take a 5-minute recess, come back and then move into executive session. All right, thank you.
It will.
All right. So, but just before we announce this, Dan will be here, Steve will be here, and Mary Elizabeth. Okay. We are back in, all right, so we are back in open session. Okay, we're back in open session. Next item on the agenda is to convene an executive session pursuant to CRS section 246402-4B for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the city attorney and to develop strategies for negotiation and instruction on negotiators pursuant to CRS section 24.6. I don't think I need to read this, 246402-4E concerning Mesa County District Court case number 25 CV 30060 and 99319 Road in Fruita, Colorado. So with that, we will need to have somebody make a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second.
Can you
Deb?
also please, actually, first, can you invite
Yes,
folks in?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor and city council hereby invite the following persons to attend this executive session. Assistant City Manager Dan Karas, Project Manager Steve Martinez, and of course, our city attorney, Mary Elizabeth Geiger.
Counselor Purser,
Yes?
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Sure.
Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
So with that, the time is 8:27 and we're going to move into executive session. Are we set up for the recording?